What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy NextGen720, and I am back with another video. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired as hell. I'm dirty as hell. Like I've been moving and scrooving and slurting. For those of you that don't know that are new, I'm gonna shout out to my influx of new subscribers. Thank you guys for supporting me. Like I said, I'm moving, and it's hard work and getting it together. It's like when I feel like Columbus, man. New house, I had to claim my territory, throw a flag down. So I'm taking the dining room. That's gonna be my little man cave, my little bat cave. I had my basement done, finished basement, but I'm giving it to my 14-year-old. So she can have her own space, part of the house. Teenager, you know what I mean? So, great dad, ain't I? That was gonna be the ultimate boom boom room, you know what I mean? But gave it to her, I let her have it. So anyway, with that being said, let me know if you guys want to see a little, it's not, no, fuck that. I was just sad to say, man, this community is so horrible sometimes when want to give you guys a little tour or whatever the case, and people take it as you're bragging. I'm a very simple dude. I come from very humble beginnings, man. I don't think I'm better than anybody. God's honest truth, man. But sometimes there was some of the weird shit guys say, man. But I'm not gonna let the next shit get on me and rain my parade. But anyway, my real way. If you guys want to see a little tour of my game, let me know, inbox me, whatever. For all my true geeks and nerds out there, let me know. But anyway, on to today's video. Now, this video right here is crazy because this rumor, or whatever you kids want to call it, keeps coming up. And like I said, I did a video about this about a year and a half ago. And when I did it back then, of course, they called Next Gen everything but a child of God, But it wasn't my opinion. It was just, that's the crazy part. It wasn't, a lot of 99.9% of these videos are just our opinion about something. When you guys tune in to watch our videos, it's for us to give you our opinion on what we think about a certain topic. You understand what I'm saying? But when I did the story on this wasn't even my opinion. This was coming from Sony. And they asked one of the interviewers, asked one of the Sony reps or whatever the case. I think it was I forgot the guy's name, but he was somebody up in Sony. He wasn't a janitor or nothing. And he was saying he wasn't sure if the actual PlayStation 5 was going to be an actual physical console. It wasn't too far after they bought Gaikai and all that stuff. So, and I did a video on it, and people, if I'm not lazy, I may go dumpster diving and find the exact video. Look at about a year and a half ago, and I may leave the link down below. But again, it wasn't my opinion. This was coming from Sony. They were saying that they don't know if the PlayStation 5 was going to be an actual physical console. You know what I mean? And in the video I said, like, what's stopping them from doing that right now? Just think about that. You don't even need a PlayStation 3 to play PlayStation games. I can play them on my Samsung TV. I can play them on my PlayStation TV. You understand what I'm saying? So what stops Sony? But it doesn't. I mean, they can do that now with the PlayStation 4. You can stream PlayStation 4 games and play them on your PlayStation TV. But they won't say that because they want to sell you hardware. But it's the God's honest truth. You know what I mean? They're not, they don't care about selling PlayStation 3s anymore. But nothing stops them from letting you stream, just being real, PlayStation 4 games over the net. It is what it is. Look at Gaikai and, online. You know what I mean? Those were streaming service. And those weren't too successful. But, this should always, but here's the thing. One thing with Gaikai and online didn't have working for them, they didn't have that brand, that name of PlayStation, you know what I mean? And it'll be a win, like I said the other day. But when I was talking about the video, like I said, back then, Sony was really struggling financially because it was also rumored that they had halt production on the PlayStation 5. And how these companies work, once they put out their console, whether it be the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Wii U, they right away or not too soon after start working on their next console. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. They start the R&D to get a budget, R&D on, working on the next console. They don't wait till they're about to release it. So what we gonna do? No, those consoles take a couple years to put together, pricing, see how the market is going. They don't do this shit overnight. You know what I mean? And and again, Sony's about trying to make some money. Just think about this though. Right, like I said, their biggest competitor as far as TVs. You would never thought you'd be able to play a PlayStation 3 game on your Samsung TV. Just hook the controller up to the TV, to the USB port, and you're playing God of War 3 right there. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a business. They're trying to make a buck. Some of Sony, they do have some iconic games. Imagine it being able for $20 a month, $25 a month, having access to PlayStation exclusives, being able to play them on your, maybe even your Wii U or your Xbox One. I'm just saying, not saying they will, but it's everything like Microsoft. Listen, I'm being real. I would be surprised if Microsoft does it. Microsoft by making $1. This console war shit, at the end of the day, we simply have fun was for us, but these companies are trying to make $1. But anyway, I got a little bit off topic. But going back, I'm just talking about in the other video when you guys flip the script. But anyways, these rumors coming out again. It says here that PlayStation 5 is a digital-only console. Now, again, don't shoot the messenger. It says Sony PlayStation Magazine editor Ben Wilson said that the PS5 will no longer support physical CDs for games, as the console will focus on being a streaming service. However, Wilson pointed out that there is a possibility that the feature won't be dropped because of its popularity. Steam on PC has taught us, what's the truth, that disk drives are becoming less and less necessary. What is the guys? Steam has about 80 million users or whatever the goddamn case may be. Think about it, you know what I mean? But that would, if PlayStation was to do this, just think about it. If PlayStation does most likely Microsoft will follow suit also. But Bill Gates has been saying for years, though, physical formats, CDs, DVD is a very primitive way. It's a dying format. Bill been saying that shit for about 15. He been saying that shit since when did the Xbox, OG Xbox came out in 2001. I remember an article with Bill was like 2002, 2003. He been talking about CDs and DVDs a dying format. He been saying that shit forever. Like digital is the way to go. But here's the thing. I'm an old school gamer. And every generation, they always say this is going to be the last generation for games. If Sony was to do this, then just being honest with you, this may be the last, the ninth generation, may be the last generation for as console. Because it's being real. Why do you have to keep buying hardware? You can just give us the goddamn game digitally and let us stream it over the net. Just being real. Not saying I want that to happen, you know what I mean? But then that would save less money in our pocket. We don't have to go out and keep buying consoles, the next this, the next that, boom, and get to play it digitally, you know what I mean? Now, how do I feel about that? I like going out and getting new stuff. I always say that I'm a faggot that loves gadgets. I like going out and getting the next console. That's me, you know what I mean? I even go to Wii U. Like I said, I've always been like that. I gotta have it, gotta need it, you know what I mean? Give it to me, But damn, I mean, I'm right now, I'm in the mental Rolodex right here, man. And I'm thinking I had some great, if Sony was to do this, there'd be no more. I haven't traded a video game probably in about 20 years. I remember me going to school back then, just before people were bringing bombs and shooting up schools. I have a backpack full of Nintendo cartridges. We put them all on the lunch table, all on the cafeteria table, you know what I mean? We back there trading games and stuff, man. Before there were Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards and all that shit, we'd be trading games. I choose you, you know what I mean? Give me that slap shit under the table. Like for real, but that would get rid of GameStop evil as they were to do that, you know what I mean? But if they listen, we'll be slick and and I wouldn't have a problem with it. If they were to do that and make it a way like Microsoft was doing with, when they were going to come out with their online shit, let us be able to trade our games digitally amongst each other. And if they were to do that, let us trade our games amongst each other or sell our games to each other, licensing, being able to sell the license to each other and all that stuff. I don't have a problem. I think that would be dope shit, man. You know what I mean? And the developer still be able to get a little portion, you know what I mean? I think that's a win-win for everybody, man. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But also, too, like I said, that's not just it. They were talking about the pricing. Like I said, according to the post, the PS5 will cost around $600 and will release in the year 2020. I mean, the PlayStation 4 would have had a 7-year life cycle. That's kind of long, too. Goddamn, 7 years, But again, 2020, the pricing is cool. But then, that is no way. I'm trying to say $600 for a top box, no disc, being streaming my games. No, it can't hurt. Like that, but if they don't, just think about it. If they were to do it like that, how much will they be saving? You won't even need a GPU in that shit. Just be a box. Like God, now that's ripping them. I just thought about that. If they were to do that, and this article is correct, and they were to do it like that, They GPU, see none of that shit. You're streaming it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Unless it's not a streaming service, you be able to download them digitally. You know what I mean? Then there would still be need for your GPU and all that shit. Like, god damn. But I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kind of, like I said, if they allow us to trade our games digitally, you know, the licensing, like I said, I don't have a problem with it, you know what I mean? But if they were to do that, the ninth generation may be the last year for consoles, you know what I mean? Because there will really be no need to buy new consoles. So this is the way that they're going. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing stops them from doing it now, just to be real, you know? And maybe Sony can finally, you know, make some money back on that Gaikai shit to be purchased, because no one's interested in PlayStation now, you know what I mean? They fucked it up. I think they could have had something special. But Sony is charging people $7 every 2 hours. Some of those games don't even cost $7 in GameStop. You know what I mean? They fucked up with the pricing. What they should have did when PlayStation Now should have came out, they should have charged everyone a $20 or $25 fee or $20. You know, and lets us, you know, have, you know, like a Netflix, have access to their back catalog of games. They should have did it like that. You know what I mean? Then that'd have been a win-win for Sony, but Sony their pricing was horrible with launch for PlayStation Now. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. You know, or would you feel a digital-only console? You know what I mean? Let me know. Now again, don't shoot the messenger. This is not next gen. This is according to Sony. Like I said, where there is smoke, there is fire. This rumor keeps coming out that they don't know if the PlayStation 5 will be a physical console. You know what I mean? Cloud only. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Bang bang.